She lost her job for helping him, unaware he was a billionaire who gave her love. The security guard's hand was rough on Maya's shoulder as he escorted her out of the Pinnacle Hotel's gleaming lobby. 20 minutes ago, she'd been the head concierge, pride of the five-star establishment. Now she was unemployed, her career destroyed for breaking one unforgivable rule. She'd given a room to someone who couldn't pay. "Please," Maya said, turning back to her manager, Mr. Hartwell. He was sick, hypothermic, it was below freezing last night. "And you gave a $500 suite to a vagrant," Hartwell cut her off, his face red with fury. "You violated company policy, compromised our security, and damaged our reputation. You're lucky I'm not pressing charges for theft." Before we dive deeper into this incredible story of compassion, consequences, and hidden identity, I want to know, where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if you believe in the power of kindness, even when it costs everything, hit that like button and subscribe to see how Maya's selfless act transforms both their lives. As the glass doors closed behind her, Maya caught a glimpse of the man who'd cost her everything. He was sitting in the lobby, wrapped in the hotel bathrobe she'd given him, his dark hair still damp from the hot shower he desperately needed. Their eyes met for just a moment, and she saw something there. Guilt, yes, but something else too. Something that looked almost like recognition. What Maya didn't know was that the vagrant she'd saved was Alexander Knight, one of the wealthiest men in the country, who'd been testing people's humanity by posing as homeless, and she had just become the first person in months to pass his test. Maya stood on the sidewalk outside the Pinnacle Hotel, her personal belongings in a cardboard box, trying to process what had just happened. She'd worked there for 5 years, climbing from night desk clerk to head concierge, building a reputation as someone who could solve any problem, handle any guest, and she'd thrown it all away for a stranger. The wind cut through her uniform, former uniform, and she shivered. Ironic, considering she'd lost her job for saving someone else from the cold. Last night had been brutal, temperatures dropping below freezing with a bitter wind that could kill. When she'd found him huddled in the alley beside the hotel, lips blue and barely conscious, she hadn't thought about company policy. She'd thought about her brother, who'd died on the streets 3 winters ago because no one had bothered to help. "Miss," she turned to find him standing there, the man from the alley. In daylight, cleaned up and wearing the spare clothes she'd found for him, he looked different, younger than she'd thought, maybe early 30s. His eyes were an unusual amber color, intense and searching. "You shouldn't be here," Maya said quickly. "If they see you talking to me, they'll call the police. I heard what happened. You lost your job because of me." His voice was deeper than expected, cultured despite his apparent circumstances. "I lost my job because I made a choice," Maya corrected, "and I'd make the same choice again." Something flickered across his face. "Why?" "Because you're a human being, and you were dying." She adjusted the box in her arms. "That's supposed to matter more than hotel policy. Most people don't think that way. Most people are wrong." Maya started walking toward the bus stop. She had rent due in a week, and no idea how she'd pay it, but she couldn't bring herself to regret her decision. He fell into step beside her. "Let me help, I could... No offense, but I don't think you're in a position to help anyone right now." She softened her tone. "Just take care of yourself, okay? Get to a shelter before nightfall. St. Mary's on 5th Avenue serves hot meals. You know a lot about shelters." "I volunteer when I can." "Good. I guess I'll have more time now." She tried for a laugh, but it came out bitter. They reached the bus stop, and Maya set down her box, rubbing her arms against the cold. He shrugged out of the jacket she'd given him, one left behind by a hotel guest months ago, and held it out to her. "Keep it," she said. "You need it more than I do." "Do I?" He studied her with those strange amber eyes. "You just sacrificed everything for a stranger. I'd say you're the one in need now." "I'll be fine, I always am." The bus arrived and Maya picked up her box. As she climbed aboard, she looked back one last time. He was still standing there, jacket in his hands, watching her with an expression she couldn't read. "What's your name?" he called out. "Maya," she answered, not sure why it mattered. I'm Alex, he said. And Maya? This isn't over. She didn't know what he meant, but the bus doors closed before she could ask. As the vehicle pulled away, she saw him pull out a phone, expensive looking, which seemed odd, and make a call. Then he was gone from view, and Maya was left to contemplate her suddenly uncertain future. Her apartment was a studio in a building that had seen better days, but it was clean and safe and hers, or it had been. Without a job, she had maybe 2 weeks before she'd be looking for a cardboard box of her own. Maya set her belongings on the counter and slumped onto her second-hand couch. Her phone buzzed with messages. Word traveled fast in the hospitality industry. Former co-workers expressing shock, a few offering sympathy, and one from Hartwell reminding her that her reference would reflect her poor judgment and breach of trust. 5 years of perfect service destroyed in one night. But when she closed her eyes, she saw Alex, though she hadn't known his name then, barely breathing in that alley, ice in his hair, skin like paper. She saw her brother Tommy, frozen to death behind a dumpster because every warm place had been full or had turned him away. No, she'd made the right choice, even if it cost her everything. She spent the rest of the day updating her resume, knowing it was probably futile. Hartwell would make sure she never worked in hospitality again. Maybe she could go back to waitressing or retail. The thought made her stomach turn, not because the work was beneath her, but because she'd worked so hard to build her career, to make something of herself. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Miss Chen? This is Sarah from Knight Enterprises. Mr. Knight would like to schedule a meeting with you regarding a potential employment opportunity. Would tomorrow at 2 p.m. work for you? Maya's brain short-circuited. I'm sorry, did you say Knight Enterprises? Yes, ma'am. Mr. Alexander Knight specifically requested to meet with you. Shall I send a car? Yes, okay. Tomorrow at 2. Excellent. A driver will pick you up at 1:30. Have a wonderful evening. The line went dead, leaving Maya staring at her phone. Knight Enterprises? Why would one of the largest companies in the city want to meet with her? Unless... She grabbed her laptop, typing Alexander Knight into the search bar. The images that loaded made her gasp. The same amber eyes, the same dark hair, but in these photos, he wore designer suits and confident smiles. CEO of Knight Enterprises, net worth in the billions. And in one candid shot from a charity event, she could swear it was the same man she'd dragged in from the cold. But that was impossible. Why would a billionaire be freezing to death in an alley? The next morning, Maya woke to insistent knocking. She opened the door to find a courier holding an elegant envelope. Maya Chen? Yes? Delivery for you. Sign here, please. Inside was a letter on expensive stationery, the kind she'd seen at the hotel when VIP guests sent correspondence. The handwriting was bold, confident. Maya, your kindness last night saved more than you know. I'd like to offer you a position with my company. The interview is today at 2 p.m. if you're interested. A car will arrive at 1:30. This isn't charity. I've seen how you handle difficult situations with grace and humanity. Those are rare qualities. Alexander Knight. Maya read it 3 times before the reality sank in. The homeless man she'd saved was Alexander Knight, which meant he'd been pretending, playing some kind of game while people like her brother actually died on the streets. Her first instinct was to tear up the letter. She didn't need pity, especially from someone who'd been playing poverty tourist. But then she looked around her apartment, thought about her empty bank account, and practicality won. She'd at least hear him out. She spent the morning researching Knight Enterprises. They owned dozens of companies, including, her stomach dropped, including the Pinnacle Hotel. He owned the hotel that had just fired her. The irony was suffocating. The car that arrived was understated but expensive, the driver professional and silent. Maya had worn her best suit, the one she saved for important hotel events. It felt strange not wearing her concierge uniform. Knight Enterprises occupied the top 20 floors of a gleaming tower downtown. The elevator ride seemed endless, her ears popping as they ascended. When the doors opened, she stepped into a reception area that made the Pinnacle look modest. "Ms. Chen?" A polished assistant appeared immediately. "Mr. Knight is expecting you. This way, please." The office she was led to was massive, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a view of the entire city. And there, behind a desk that probably cost more than her annual salary, sat Alexander, Mr. Knight. He looked nothing like the half-dead man she'd dragged in from the cold. Expensive suit, perfect posture, an aura of power that filled the room. Only his eyes were the same, that unusual amber watching her intently. "Maya, thank you for coming." "Mr. Knight." She kept her voice level, professional. "I have to admit I'm confused." "I imagine you are. Please sit." He gestured to a chair across from his desk. "Coffee, tea." An explanation would be nice. A smile tugged at his lips. "Direct. I like that." "Very well. For the past 6 months, I've been conducting an experiment of sorts, posing as homeless to see how people really behave when they think no one important is watching." "That's," Maya searched for a polite word, "unethical. Is it? I've donated millions to homeless services, but I wanted to understand the reality, to see who helps and who doesn't when there's no tax write-off, no public recognition." "And what did you discover?" His expression darkened. "That most people are cruel, that wealth insulates us from humanity, that in 6 months you were the only person who risked anything significant to help. Others must have spare change sometimes, a few kind words, but real sacrifice, real risk." He shook his head. "You gave me a $500 room knowing it would cost you your job. You stayed with me until you were sure I was warm. You gave me clothes, food from your own lunch. Why?" Maya was quiet for a moment, debating how much to share, but if he wanted honesty, she'd give it to him. "My brother died on the streets 3 years ago. Hypothermia. He was schizophrenic, couldn't hold a job, bounced between shelters when they had space. One cold night there was no space." She met his eyes. "I couldn't save Tommy, but I could save you. I'm sorry about your brother." "Are you? Or is he just another data point in your experiment?" Alexander flinched. "That's fair. What I did, pretending, it was insulting to people who really suffer. I see that now." "Do you?" He stood, moving to the window. "My father built this company from nothing. He used to tell me stories about being hungry, about sleeping in bus stations. I thought I understood poverty because I'd heard those stories. But hearing and experiencing..." He turned back to her. "You're right to be angry." "I'm not angry," Maya said, surprising herself with the truth. "I'm disappointed. You have so much power to help, and you spent 6 months playing dress-up. Which is why I need you." "For what?" "I'm restructuring our entire charitable division. I need someone who understands the real problems, who has the courage to make hard choices. Someone who sees people, not statistics." He returned to his desk, sliding a folder toward her. "The position is Vice President of Community Outreach. The salary is substantial." Maya opened the folder and nearly choked. The number had more zeros than she'd ever seen on a paycheck. "This is less than you deserve, probably. But it's a start." "Mr. Knight, I appreciate the offer, but I'm not qualified for this. I'm a hotel concierge. Was." "You have a master's in social work," he said, surprising her. "You graduated with honors but took the hotel job because it paid better than social services. You volunteer at 3 different shelters. You've written 2 papers on urban homelessness that were published in academic journals. You researched me. I research everyone, but yes, I was particularly thorough with you." He leaned forward. "Maya, I'm not offering you this job because I feel guilty. I'm offering it because you're exactly what this company, what I need. Someone who'll tell me when I'm being an entitled ass. Someone who'll make sure our programs actually help people instead of just making us feel good about ourselves. And if I say no, then I'll have my driver take you home and you'll never hear from me again. But I hope you'll say yes." Maya looked at the contract again. With this salary, she could actually make a difference. Fund programs, create change, maybe save people like Tommy. But I have conditions, she said. Alexander's eyebrows rose. You're negotiating? You said you wanted someone who'd stand up to you. She pulled out a pen. First, I report directly to you, not through 17 layers of management. Second, I have full autonomy over program development. You can veto something, but you have to explain why to my face. Third, 20% of my time is mine to spend in the field, volunteering, researching, staying connected to the real world. Done. I'm not finished. Fourth, you donate the equivalent of my first year's salary to the shelter network immediately. Fifth, you spend 1 day a month working with me in the field. Real work, not poverty tourism. And sixth, she paused, meeting his eyes. You never lie to me again. No pretending, no games. If we're going to work together, I need to trust you. Alexander was quiet for a long moment. Then he extended his hand. Deal. His handshake was firm, warm. Maya felt a jolt of something, electricity, chemistry, whatever you wanted to call it, and pulled back quickly. When do I start? Tomorrow, if you're ready. We have a board meeting Thursday where you'll present your initial plans. Thursday, that's in 3 days. Problem? Maya thought about her empty apartment, her zeroed bank account, her complete lack of preparation for corporate life. No problem. Another smile, this one reaching his eyes. I'll have someone help you get settled. Office, equipment, whatever you need. Just like that? Just like that. He stood, indicating the meeting was over. Maya, thank you. For last night, for this. For seeing me as human when I'd almost forgotten I was. As she left his office, Maya wondered what she'd just agreed to. Working for the man whose games had cost her job, even if he'd also saved her from unemployment. But something in his eyes when he'd talked about change, about needing her, that had been real. Maybe Alexander Knight had been playing at being homeless, but the man she'd saved in that alley had been genuinely lost in a different way. Her phone buzzed as she waited for the elevator, a text from an unknown number. Forgot to mention, company car comes with the position, drivers waiting downstairs. AK. Maya shook her head, half amused, half overwhelmed. 24 hours ago, she'd been unemployed and desperate. Now she was a VP at one of the biggest companies in the city. Life had a strange sense of humor. The next few days passed in a blur. Maya was given an office that was bigger than her apartment, an assistant who seemed terrifyingly competent, and access to resources she'd only dreamed of. She threw herself into research, reaching out to her network of shelter workers and advocates, designing programs that would actually make a difference. Her assistant, Janet, was a godsend, a woman in her 50s who'd been with the company for decades and knew how to navigate corporate politics. Word of advice, Janet said on Maya's second day. The board is going to test you. They think Mr. Knight hired you on a whim. Prove them wrong. How do you know what they think? Janet smiled. Honey, I've been here since before Mr. Knight took over from his father. I know everything, including the fact that you're the first person he's personally recruited in 5 years. Why me? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Janet studied her. Though I have my theories. Mr. Knight's been different lately. Restless. Like he's looking for something he can't find in spreadsheets and profit margins. Maya thought about the man in the alley, the loneliness in his eyes that wealth couldn't fix. Maybe he found it. Maybe he did, Janet agreed. Just be careful. The board doesn't like change, and you're about to propose a lot of it. Alexander, she still had trouble thinking of him as anything but the half-frozen man from the alley, checked in daily. He'd appear in her doorway, sleeves rolled up, looking more like a graduate student than a CEO. How's it going? I've identified 17 gaps in current services, Maya said on day 2, not looking up from her computer. Starting with the fact that most shelters close during the day, forcing people to wander until evening. So we fix it. It's not that simple. Zoning laws, funding structures, staffing. Maya. He waited until she looked at him. We have lawyers for zoning, money for funding, and HR for staffing. Your job is to tell me what needs to happen. Mine is to make it possible. She studied him, this contradiction of a man. "Why do you care so much, really?" Alexander entered her office fully, closing the door behind him. "Can I tell you something I've never told anyone?" Maya nodded. "When I was 8, my father lost everything. Bad investments, worse partners. We lived in our car for 3 months before he rebuilt." He sat in the chair across from her desk, suddenly looking vulnerable. He never talked about it after we had money again, pretended it never happened. But I remember being hungry. I remember being invisible. I remember how quickly people stopped seeing us as human. Alexander, I've spent 20 years trying to forget those 3 months, building walls of money so I'd never be vulnerable again. But when you found me in that alley, when you looked at me and saw someone worth saving, he met her eyes. You reminded me that I've been running from the wrong things. The air between them crackled with something Maya didn't want to name. She cleared her throat, looking back at her computer. "Well then, let's make sure no 8-year-old has to live in their car again." "Yes," he said softly. "Let's." That evening, Maya stayed late preparing for the board meeting. She was deep in spreadsheets when she heard a knock. "You're here late." Alexander stood in her doorway holding 2 cups of coffee. "Board meetings in 2 days. I want to be ready." She accepted the coffee gratefully. "How did you know how I take it?" "I pay attention," he said simply, settling into the chair across from her. "What's your approach?" "Shock and awe," Maya said. "Hit them with the human cost first, then show them how fixing it benefits everyone, including their bottom line. Cynical, but effective. You're learning corporate politics quickly." I had a good teacher. 5 years of dealing with entitled hotel guests taught me that rich people need to see personal benefit before they'll help others. Ouch, Alexander winced. Fair, but ouch. Present company accepted, Maya added with a small smile. Sometimes. They worked together for the next 2 hours, Alexander offering insights into each board member's priorities and concerns. Maya found herself relaxing in his presence, forgetting the strange circumstances that had brought them together. "Can I ask you something?" she said as they packed up. "What would have happened if I hadn't found you that night? Were you really prepared to freeze?" Alexander was quiet for a long moment. "I honestly don't know. I'd reached a point where I felt so disconnected from everything, so tired of being Alexander Knight that I just stopped caring. It wasn't actively suicidal, but it wasn't exactly self-preserving either." "That's terrifying." "It was, until a hotel concierge decided I was worth saving." He stood, pausing at her door. "You didn't just save my life that night, Maya. You saved my soul, reminded me why life matters." Before she could respond, he was gone, leaving her with a racing heart and the lingering scent of his cologne. The board meeting arrived too quickly. Maya stood outside the conference room, palms sweating, wearing a new suit that Alexander's assistant had helped her select. Through the glass, she could see a dozen people in expensive clothes, all looking skeptical. "Nervous?" Alexander appeared beside her. "Terrified." "Good. Means you care." He straightened her collar, a gesture so intimate she forgot to breathe. "They're going to resist. Change is scary, especially for people who benefit from the status quo. But I'll be right there. We're in this together." The "we" sent warmth through her chest. Maya nodded, squaring her shoulders, and followed him into the room. The presentation was brutal. Board members fired questions at her, challenging every assumption, every budget line. But Maya had done her homework. For every objection, she had data. For every concern, she had a solution. And when one particularly condescending member suggested that throwing money at the homeless problem never worked, she snapped. "With all due respect, Mr. Whitman, when was the last time you spoke to someone experiencing homelessness? Not drove past them, not stepped around them, actually spoke to them." The room went silent. Alexander leaned back in his chair, a small smile playing at his lips. "That's not relevant," Whitman blustered. "It's the only thing that's relevant," Maya interrupted. "You're making decisions about human lives from this ivory tower, never seeing the consequences. The programs I'm proposing aren't about throwing money. They're about treating people like people. Revolutionary concept, I know, Ms. Chen, another board member interjected, your passion is admirable, but my passion is backed by a master's degree, 5 years of field experience, and more importantly, the basic understanding that every person deserves dignity. Maya pulled up her final slide. This isn't charity, it's investment. In our community, in our humanity, in the kind of city we want to be. She showed them the numbers, how homelessness cost the city more in emergency services than prevention would. How stable housing led to employment, which led to tax revenue. How their investment would pay dividends both social and financial. When she finished, the room was quiet. Then Alexander stood. I move to approve the full proposal, he said. All in favor. One by one, hands went up. Even Whitman grudgingly raised his. Outside the conference room, Maya's legs nearly gave out. Alexander caught her elbow, steadying her. That was, she started. Brilliant, he finished. You were brilliant. Whitman's been on this board for 15 years, and I've never seen anyone put him in his place like that. I probably shouldn't have. You should have. You did exactly what I hired you to do. Tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. His hand was still on her elbow, warm through her jacket. Dinner? To celebrate? Maya knew she should say no. There was already too much electricity between them, too many moments where professional boundaries blurred. But she was high on adrenaline and success, and the way he was looking at her made rational thought difficult. Okay, she heard herself say. He took her to a small Italian restaurant, not the power lunch spot she expected, but a family-owned place with checkered tablecloths and candles stuck in wine bottles. You're surprised, he observed as they were seated. I expected something more pretentious. That's for business. This is... He paused, seeming to catch himself. This is to celebrate your victory, they ordered, and Maya found herself relaxing. Away from the office, Alexander was different. He laughed at her stories about hotel disasters, shared his own tales of corporate mishaps. She forgot he was a billionaire, forgot he was technically her boss. He was just Alex, the man she'd saved from the cold, who was turning out to be so much more than she'd expected. Can I ask you something? Maya said as they shared tiramisu. Why were you really in that alley? The truth, not the experiment explanation. Alexander set down his spoon. The truth? I was running away. From what? Everything. The board wanted me to marry Vivian Ashford. Good for the company, they said. My mother had been dead for exactly 1 year, and I'd spent it working 20-hour days so I wouldn't have to feel anything. I was successful and miserable and completely lost. He met her eyes. So I decided to disappear, to see if anyone would notice, if anyone would care about Alex instead of Alexander Knight. And a hotel concierge risked everything to save a stranger, made me realize I'd been asking the wrong questions. His voice dropped. Made me realize what I'd been missing. The air between them shifted, charged with possibility. Maya knew she should leave, should maintain professional distance. Instead, she heard herself asking, what were you missing? Connection, purpose, someone who sees through all the bullshit to what matters. He reached across the table, his fingers brushing hers. You. Alexander, I know. I'm your boss. It's complicated, inappropriate. He pulled back, but didn't look away. Tell me to stop, Maya. Tell me this is just gratitude or proximity or... It's not, she said quietly. That's the problem. It's not any of those things. They sat there, the truth hanging between them like a bridge they were both afraid to cross. Finally, Alexander signaled for the check. I'll have the driver take you home, he said. Professional distance sliding back into place. But in the car, sitting carefully apart, Maya felt the weight of unspoken words. As they pulled up to her building, she made a decision. That night in the alley, she said, not looking at him, when I found you, my first thought wasn't about my job or the rules. It was that you had the saddest eyes I'd ever seen, like you'd been alone so long you'd forgotten any other way to be. Maya, I still see it sometimes, when you think no one's looking, that loneliness. She turned to face him. I know what it's like to be surrounded by people and still feel invisible. I know what it's like to lose yourself trying to be what everyone else needs. What are you saying? I'm saying that maybe we saved each other that night, and maybe that means something, but not yet. Not while you're my boss and I'm trying to prove myself. She opened the car door. Ask me again in 6 months. When the programs are running and I've shown everyone that I earned this job, ask me then. She left him in the car, knowing she'd either been very smart or very stupid, but she needed to build her career on her own merits, needed to know that what was between them was real, and not just gratitude or proximity, or the thrill of the forbidden. The next months were a whirlwind. Maya threw herself into her work, launching programs that revolutionized how the city approached homelessness. The 24-hour shelter network she designed became a model for other cities. The job training initiative she created with local businesses placed hundreds of people in stable employment. The transitional housing program gave families a real chance at rebuilding their lives. Alexander kept his distance, professionally supportive, but personally reserved. They met for weekly updates, attended the same meetings, occasionally shared elevator rides where the air crackled with unspoken words. But he respected her boundary, never pushing, never presuming. He did keep his promise about fieldwork. Once a month, he joined her at shelters, serving meals, talking to clients, getting his hands dirty. The first time she saw him in jeans and a t-shirt, serving soup at St. Mary's, her heart did complicated things in her chest. "You're staring," he murmured as they worked side by side. "You look different out of the suit." "Better or worse?" "Different," she repeated, not trusting herself to say more. But it was during those fieldwork days that she saw the real Alexander emerge. He remembered names, stories, details. He treated everyone with the same respect he showed board members. He listened more than he talked, learned more than he taught. One evening, they were cleaning up after dinner service when Maria, one of the regular clients, approached Alexander. "You're him, aren't you?" she said. "The rich guy who was pretending to be homeless." Maya tensed, but Alexander just nodded. "I am. I'm sorry for the deception." "Why'd you do it?" "Because I'd forgotten what it meant to be human. I needed to remember." Maria studied him for a long moment. "And did you remember?" Alexander glanced at Maya. "Yes, someone reminded me." "Good," Maria said firmly. "Then maybe some good comes from it. You help us for real now, not just playing games." "That's the plan," Alexander said. "Maya's making sure of it." After Maria walked away, Maya touched his arm. That went better than it could have. She had every right to be angry. They all do. He covered her hand with his. "But you're helping me make it right. That matters." The moment stretched between them, full of things they couldn't say. Not yet. Maya pulled away, returning to the dishes, but she felt his eyes on her for the rest of the evening. 3 months into her new role, Maya faced her first major crisis. The city council was threatening to shut down one of the shelters she'd just gotten fully operational, citing neighborhood complaints. "They can't do this," she raged in Alexander's office. "We just got the 24-hour model working. People depend on this place." "Then we fight," Alexander said simply. "What do you need?" "Political pressure, media attention, a miracle." "I can manage the first two. You'll have to handle the miracle yourself." He was already reaching for his phone. "I know a few council members who owe me favors, and my PR team can have this story in every major outlet by tomorrow." "Just like that?" "Just like that. Maya, when are you going to understand? Your battles are my battles now. Your wins are my wins. We're partners in this." "Partners." The word sent warmth through her chest. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. We still have to win." They did win. The shelter stayed open. The media coverage actually brought in more donations, and the council member who'd led the charge ended up apologizing publicly. But the victory felt hollow to Maya as she stood in the shelter that night, watching families settle in for sleep. "You saved this place," Alexander said, appearing beside her. "We saved it. Together." "Together," he agreed. "We make a good team." "The best," Maya said, then caught herself. That sounded too intimate, too much like something else. Maya, Alexander said quietly, it's been 4 months. I know. I'm trying to be patient, to give you the time you asked for, but every day gets harder. Watching you fight for these people, seeing your passion, your brilliance, working beside you, being near you, but not... He stopped himself. I'm sorry. I shouldn't. 2 more months, Maya said softly. Just 2 more months. I'll wait, he said immediately. However long you need. Even if I said a year? 2 years? Even if you said forever, Alexander said. Though I'd hope you wouldn't. Maya looked at him. This complicated man who'd upended her life in the best possible way. I won't make you wait forever, I promise. I'll hold you to that, he said with a small smile. The next 2 months flew by. The programs Maya had implemented were showing real results. Homelessness in their district dropped by 20%. Employment among program participants rose by 35%. Other cities started sending representatives to study their model. Maya was in her office reviewing the quarterly reports when Janet knocked. Someone here to see you, her assistant said with a strange smile. I don't have any appointments. Trust me, you want to see this person. Maya followed Janet out to find a woman in her 60s, well-dressed but worn around the edges, standing in the reception area. Can I help you? Maya asked. You already have, the woman said. I'm Helen Morrison. You saved my son 6 months ago, gave him a hotel room when he was freezing. Maya's heart stopped. Your son? Tommy. He's schizophrenic, like your brother was. He'd been missing for weeks. That night when you found him, he was using a fake name, too paranoid to tell anyone who he really was. Tears ran down the woman's face. The hospital called me the next morning. If you hadn't helped him, he would have died. I thought... Maya couldn't form words. You thought he was someone else, I know. Mr. Knight's assistant explained when I tracked you down. But you saved my boy. He's in treatment now, taking his medication, living in one of your transitional housing units. Helen grabbed Maya's hands. You gave me my son back. How do I thank you for that? Maya was crying now too. Is he okay? Would you like to see him? He's downstairs. He wanted to thank you himself, but was too nervous to come up. Maya followed Helen to the lobby, her mind reeling. There, sitting on a bench, was a young man who looked nothing like the frozen figure from the alley. He was clean, healthy, his eyes clear and focused. Tommy, Helen said gently. This is Maya, the woman who saved you. Tommy stood, shy but smiling. I remember you. You stayed with me until I was warm, kept talking to me so I wouldn't fall asleep. I'm so glad you're okay, Maya managed through her tears. I'm in the program now, the one you started. Got a job at the grocery store, taking my meds. He pulled out a worn piece of paper. I wrote this for you, to say thank you. Maya read the carefully printed words. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible. Thank you for caring when I couldn't care about myself. You saved my life. But more than that, you gave me hope. She was sobbing now, thinking of her own brother, of all the Tommies who didn't get saved. Helen hugged her and then Tommy did too, awkwardly but sincerely. Can I check on you sometimes? Maya asked. Make sure you're doing okay. I'd like that, Tommy said. Maybe you could tell me about your brother. Mom says he was like me. I'd love to, Maya whispered. After they left, Maya stood in the lobby, overwhelmed. She'd thought she was saving Alexander that night, but she'd saved someone's actual son, someone's Tommy. Maya? Alexander's voice came from behind her. Janet said, Are you crying? What happened? She turned and walked straight into his arms, not caring who saw. I saved someone's son. That night, I thought I was saving you. But there was another man, and he was someone's Tommy, and he's alive because... Shh, Alexander held her tight. I know. Helen Morrison called me first, trying to find you. I know. All this time, I thought I'd failed my brother, but I saved someone else's. You save people every day, Alexander said into her hair. It's who you are. Maya pulled back to look at him. It's been 6 months. I know. Ask me again. Maya, ask me. Alexander cupped her face in his hands. Maya Chen, I am completely, desperately, irrevocably in love with you. I have been since you told me I was worth saving. Will you please, finally, let me take you on a proper date? Yes, Maya said, laughing through her tears. Yes to all of it. He kissed her then, right there in the Knight Enterprises lobby, in front of employees and visitors and security cameras. It was unprofessional and inappropriate and absolutely perfect. When they finally broke apart, Maya was breathless. HR is going to have a field day. Let them, Alexander said. I've waited 6 months to kiss you. They're lucky I'm stopping at one. Who says you have to stop? Maya asked, surprising herself with her boldness. You're going to be trouble, aren't you? Alexander grinned. The best kind, Maya promised. They handled the transition carefully, professionally. Maya reported to the board directly, maintaining her independence while building a relationship with Alexander that was stronger for the foundation they'd laid. He supported her work without interfering. She challenged him to be better without trying to change him. Their first official date was to the shelter where they'd done their first fieldwork together. They served dinner side by side, then walked through the city, talking about everything and nothing. This is not a typical first date, Maya observed as they stopped for coffee from a street vendor. Nothing about us is typical, Alexander pointed out. I was a billionaire pretending to be homeless. You were a hotel concierge who became a VP overnight. We've been doing everything backwards from the start. True, Maya sipped her coffee, thinking. So what's next in our backwards romance? Well, typically people date before working together, so I suppose we should quit our jobs. Nice try, you're stuck with me at Knight Enterprises. Thank God, Alexander said fervently. You're the best thing that ever happened to that company, and to me. They were quiet for a moment, watching the city lights reflect on the river. Can I tell you something? Maya said. That night, when I found you, I almost walked past. It had been a long shift, I was tired, and I'd been trained not to engage with people on the streets near the hotel. What changed your mind? You made a sound, just a small whimper, like you were having a nightmare. And I thought about my brother, about all the people who must have walked past him. I couldn't be another person who just walked past. Alexander took her hand. I'm glad you stopped. Me too, Maya said, even if you were lying about who you were. I wasn't lying about everything, Alexander said. The loneliness, the feeling lost, the need for human connection, that was all real, maybe more real than I'd been in years. And now? Now I have you. I have purpose. I have a reason to be better than I was. He brought her hand to his lips. You saved more than my life that night, Maya. You saved my soul. You saved mine too, Maya admitted. I was so focused on surviving, on climbing the ladder, on being safe, that I'd forgotten why any of it mattered. You reminded me that helping people isn't just a job, it's who I am. They walked back toward Knight Enterprises, where Alexander's car was waiting. As they passed the Pinnacle Hotel, Maya paused. Do you want to go in? Alexander asked gently. No, that's not my world anymore. She looked at the gleaming entrance where she'd spent 5 years of her life. Hartwell did me a favor firing me. I would have stayed there forever, safe and small and afraid to reach for more. His loss, Alexander said. My gain. Our gain, Maya corrected. We both won that night. A year later, Maya stood before a crowd at the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the Thomas Chen Memorial Center, a comprehensive facility offering everything from emergency shelter to job training to mental health services. Alexander stood beside her, their hands intertwined. This center is named for my brother, Maya said into the microphone. He died on the streets because the system failed him, but his memory lives on in every person we help, every life we save, every family we keep together. The crowd applauded, but Maya wasn't finished. None of this would exist without Alexander Knight, who had the courage to confront his own assumptions about homelessness and the wisdom to hire someone who would challenge him to do better. And it wouldn't exist without every person who's ever stopped to help a stranger, who's chosen compassion over convenience. She cut the ribbon to thunderous applause. As the crowd toured the facility, Helen Morrison approached with Tommy. "It's perfect," Helen said. "Your brother would be so proud." "I hope so," Maya said. Tommy had been doing well, holding down his job, taking his medication, living proof that with the right support, people could rebuild their lives. "I volunteer here twice a week," Tommy told her proudly, "helping in the kitchen. I want to give back." "That's wonderful," Maya said, her heart full. Later, as the event wound down, Alexander found her on the roof garden, one of her favorite features of the new building. "You did it," he said. "You built something amazing." "We built it," Maya corrected. "None of this happens without you. I just write checks. You're the one who makes miracles." "Alexander Knight, are you fishing for compliments?" Maya teased. "Maybe. Is it working?" "Always." She kissed him softly. "Thank you for believing in me, for believing in this. Thank you for saving me from that alley in every way possible." They stood together, looking out over the city they were slowly transforming. In the distance, Maya could see the Pinnacle Hotel, where it all began. She thought about the twists of fate that had brought them here, a billionaire's dangerous game, a concierge's act of compassion, a brother's memory-driving change. "Penny for your thoughts?" Alexander asked. "Just thinking about how different everything could have been. If you hadn't been in that alley, if I hadn't stopped, if Hartwell hadn't fired me. If I hadn't been a complete idiot playing at being homeless," Alexander added. "That too," Maya agreed. "Though I understand it better now. You were looking for something real in a world of artifice. And I found it, found you." "We found each other," Maya said. "Two lost souls in a city of millions." "Not lost anymore," Alexander said, pulling her close. "No," Maya agreed. "Not anymore." As the sun set over the city, painting the sky in shades of hope, Maya thought about all the people who would find shelter here, find help, find their way back to themselves. She thought about Tommy, both the one they'd saved and the one they couldn't. She thought about second chances and unexpected love and the power of stopping to help. "What are you thinking now?" Alexander asked. "That I'm glad I broke the rules that night. Best mistake I ever made." "The best," Alexander agreed, and kissed her as the first stars appeared over their city. 5 years later, Maya stood in that same alley, now transformed into a community garden. The Pinnacle Hotel had been convinced to donate the space, and it had become a symbol of transformation. "You ready?" Alexander asked, squeezing her hand. Maya looked down at the small box in her other hand, containing her brother Tommy's ashes. They'd decided to scatter them here, in this place of second chances. "He would have loved this," she said. "A garden where anyone can come, no questions asked." "He would have loved you," Alexander corrected. "His sister, who never stopped fighting for people like him." As they scattered the ashes among the newly planted flowers, Maya thought about the strange path that had brought them here. A freezing night, a broken rule, a lost job that became the beginning of everything. "Thank you," she whispered, not sure if she was talking to Tommy or Alexander, or the universe itself. "For what?" Alexander asked. "For needing to be saved that night, for saving me right back, for all of it." He pulled her close as the sun set over their city, painting the sky in shades of hope. "Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible, for reminding me that being human is more important than being powerful." "We make a good team," Maya said. "The best," Alexander agreed. "The girl who gave up everything to save a stranger, and the billionaire who found his heart in an alley. Not your typical love story." "The best ones never are," Maya said, and kissed him as the first stars appeared overhead, blessing their unlikely, perfect, complicated love. In the end, Maya had lost her job for helping a stranger, but she'd gained a purpose, a partner, and a love that transformed not just their lives, but an entire city. Sometimes the greatest gifts come disguised as the worst moments. Sometimes losing everything is the only way to find what really matters. And sometimes Just sometimes, the stranger you save on the coldest night turns out to be the person who'll warm the rest of your life. The Thomas Chen Memorial Center served over 10,000 people in its first year. The programs Maya developed were replicated in cities across the country. Alexander became known not as the billionaire who played at being homeless, but as the CEO who actually cared about change. But for Maya, the greatest success wasn't in the numbers or the accolades. It was in the small moments. Tommy Morrison getting his one-year chip at AA, Maria from the shelter getting her first apartment, a young mother finding job training that changed her family's future. It was in the quiet evenings with Alexander, planning new programs over takeout in her office. It was in the way he still looked at her like she'd saved him, even years later. It was in the love they'd built from the most unlikely beginning. "Do you ever regret it?" Alexander asked one night as they lay in bed in their apartment, a modest place by billionaire standards, but perfect for them. "Losing your job, the chaos that followed?" "Never," Maya said without hesitation. "That job was just a job. This is a life, a purpose, a love I never expected." "Even though I lied to you?" "You were lost," Maya said simply. "We all tell lies when we're lost. The important thing is finding your way back to truth." "With help," Alexander added, pulling her close. "With help," Maya agreed. Outside their window, the city hummed with life. People struggling, surviving, thriving. Somewhere out there, someone was sleeping in an alley. Someone was making an impossible choice. Someone was about to discover that rock bottom could become a foundation for something better. Maya had learned that kindness could cost everything and still be worth it. That love could bloom in the most unlikely circumstances. That sometimes the worst night of your life was just the beginning of your best story. She'd lost a job, but gained a calling. Lost a career, but found her purpose. And in saving a stranger on the coldest night of the year, she'd found the warmth that would last a lifetime. The security guard who'd escorted her out of the Pinnacle Hotel had thought he was ending her story. He'd really just been turning the page. Thank you for joining me on Maya and Alexander's incredible journey. If their story touched your heart, reminded you of the power of compassion, or inspired you to see beyond surface appearances, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more stories of unexpected love and second chances. Drop a comment below sharing where you're watching from, and remember, sometimes the kindest act, even when it costs us everything, leads to rewards we never imagined. The stranger you help today might just change your life tomorrow.